We're also following news out of Graham this evening where the Push to the Polls march led by Reverend Gregory Drumright, who was on our show last night, met counter-protesters earlier this evening. Our Isabella Seaman is over there right now. Isabella, how are things looking?
Yeah, Brian, so today's push to the polls in Graham ended nothing like it did last Saturday. So if you're following our coverage on Saturday, there was a march to the polls led by Reverend Drumright. That day, the march to the polls ended in a pepper fog. Now that pepper fog was made by the Graham Police Department and the Alamance County Sheriff's Department. Now the Graham Police Department said they sprayed it on the grounds. However, Reverend Drumright says that is not the case. Now today, Reverend Drumright, along for Justice for the Next Generation, wanted to do a push to the polls. Now in my hands, I'm holding the protocol for the push to the polls. They did things like stay on the sidewalk this time, unlike Saturday. Also, they did not chant at all. When they made it to 2 polling stations, there was over 400 people that walked to the polls. Now, when they made it to downtown Graham, they were met with about 50 counter-protesters. Luckily, there was no physical interaction, just a little bit of verbal interaction. Reverend Drumright said some words, and from there, everyone dispersed. So luckily today, there has been no physical altercation, and everything has ended peacefully. I'll have more about this later in the show, so stay tuned. And Brian, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Isabella. We'll be following this story throughout the evening.